All right, don't forget to subscribe, share, and smash that thumbs up button. Thank you for joining me for this little editing portion of my completed manuscript for the book Greenwood. And also, I wanted to say I do teach writing classes on Udemy. I am going to put that link in the description box. Eyes for not the last time, but I'm gonna lay another set of eyes. It's been months since I went over this manuscript, and then get it to probably what I will consider perhaps the final editing process before I start to excuse me, I'm drinking my half a gallon of lemon water this morning. All right, so edit with me. So simple things that you could do even on your own, software wise, Grammarly, but don't ever believe that hype as well. So I typically just go to either Grammarly or I review through my Microsoft Word reviews. Most times I use both. I will start off with Grammarly, then switch Grammarly off and go over chapter by chapter with Microsoft. So, anyways, I'm sharing my work with you all, which I barely ever do before it's published. But here we go. Alright, so I am my worst critique, by the way. Grammarly getting on my nerves with this word, but we're just gonna. So I read out loud for the most part. So you also get a reading, not intentionally. According to recorded history, the first African slaves arrived in Jamestown, Virginia in the year 1619. In the year 2019, it will mark 400 years since the first slaves arrived in America. I dedicate this book to all the surviving descendants and or bloodlines of slavery. So, when Grammarly has me second guessing myself, I goes up her I goes up her I go up here and let we ask Google spell word for surviving spelling, and I'm drinking my water, y'all. Okay. I have to go through this book today before the day's over so I could submit it, because it's probably going to take about 14 to 20 days for the editor. Okay, so let's hear. Google helps you out here, guys. Let's say we want another word for surviving, so we're not so repetitive, even though it's the dedication portion. Let's see. Get through, hold out. So we can say for the. Okay, let's go back and reread our sentence. All right. I dedicate this book to all the surviving descendants and or bloodlines of slavery. I also dedicate this book to the living. Let's say living. Okay, Google didn't give me much help there. Living victims. I don't know why I capitalized victims. They're living. Okay. All right. Here we go. Excuse me, guys. I am drinking my lemon water. That's what you hear there. All right. Let's go. All right. I also dedicate this book to the living victims of Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma. May the victims' memories go on to teach a people of what a people can do when in unity. Yes, Grammarly's trying to correct, but I want it to be phrased in that manner. If there is one thing I have read and seen with my own eyes is the strength and the resilience of the black American. There is something in the fabric making of the African American skin that states determination, perseverance, and forgiveness. You guys have to forgive me. I try to have fun when I'm doing this. I have a secret to tell, and I'm about to tell it. Editing my own work is by far like the most challenging thing on the planet for me because I'm my worst critic. But I'm learning. to kind of just go through it. Otherwise, we'll be sitting up here editing books for 20 years, right? All right, forgiveness. I don't need to separate that paragraph. Okay. 400 years later. Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Savage. All right. You guys, I learned to just, even though it says autosave on this Microsoft thing, I'm just saving. I'm used to just hitting that button no matter what. I have my USB drive plugged in. It saves directly to that because I've got horror writing stories I'm pretty sure that other people have encountered too. In my earlier days of writing, that is. All right, 400 years later, and not even that. Pause. Let's talk story time. So literally not even that. What is it? This year in June, July, my tower went out. My computer tower. I call it the motherboard. My husband says it's a tower, whatever. But it went out. It went out. Kaput. And even up to now, I still there's some things that I need there. I should have learned a long time ago to really put everything on a like second storage system, but for the most part the rest of my material is on these USBs, so that's why I hit save quickly. 400 years later, I admire who you are as a people because of what you came out of as a people. You took unbearable circumstances. Let's limit the word off end. You came out you came out wait. 400 years later, I admire who you are as a people because of what you came out of as a people. I have to rephrase that. 400 years later, I admire who you are as a people. Maybe because of what you went through, but not necessarily, that's not what I want to say. Admire who you are as a people because of what you went through. Because of what you went through and how you came out of it, maybe. Okay, let's through how you. I hate the word came out. And how you. Mm, my mind this morning is not thinking. 400, and maybe probably because I'm doing this video. 400 years later, later. I admire who you are as a people because of what you went through. I don't like how to say because of what you went through. It wasn't an option to go through freaking slavery. Guys, this is in real life right here. Let's just say 400 years later, I admire who you are as a people. I already put resiliency somewhere up here. Resilient. Okay, so 400 years later, I admire who you are as a people. Okay, that works still. Okay, let's do it like that. Let's save. Let's just do it like that. 400 years later, I admire who you are as a people. You took unbearable circumstances, pressed on with an unwavering strength. May the next generations to come know and understand that anything is very much possible in black skin because of who their ancestors were. Oh, because of who their because of who they are, they are. You guys, my accent precedes thine sentence. Un momento, por favor. One more sip of water here. All right, let's go. Let's go. Focus, 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 focus. That's what I. Man, I need another cup of black tea. Okay, let's go. May the next generations to come know and understand that anything is very much possibly in black skin because of who their ancestors were, because of who their ancestors are. Black skin because of who their ancestors, I should say, are, probably. And let the professionals help me through this when they go through my material. All right, Gramley, you ain't doing nothing for me over here. All right, let's go. The history of the American Negro is the history. There's nothing much for me here to edit because this is verbatim W-E-B Dubois or Du Bois. I forget how he would have liked that to be pronounced. My bad. The history of the American Negro is the history of this strife. I think it's Du Bois. You know what I mean? I want to be respectful in this. Use my Siri. And I'm only doing this because I'm editing. Oh, crud. So we all. Guys, I'm editing while I got another book in mind. That's the problem. And I know my 100% focus needs to be on what I'm doing right here. Let's do this. No, so by this book, really, we got a plan for it to drop. I should have dropped this year, but okay. Okay, let's go with this one. PronounceNames.com. Yes, Dubois, but did he consider himself Dubois or Dubois? I know, I think it's like a French name, ain't it? What kind of. I believe he wanted to be called Dubois. I forget. Yeah, somebody correct me in this. Because I know Dubois is French. Cote d'Ivoire. Like the wine. Cote d'Ivoire. Okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. Anywhoosies, let's go. The history of the American Negro is the history of this strife. This longing to attain self conscious manhood, to merge his double self into a better and truer self. In this merging, he wishes neither of the older selves to be lost. He simply wishes to make it possible for a man to be both a Negro and an American. I'm sorry. Okay, just checking my screen recording there. All right. If you can convince the lowest man, this is my favorite quote by Lyndon B. Johnson. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the. Did I finish reading that? You all. I know, right? God bless me. I, this is a woman to be both a Negro and an American. Okay. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, what does Gramley want to do with this? Because I'm like, dude, this is verbatim as no, we gonna leave and respect the quotage of thine peoples. All right. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. Lyndon B. Johnson. We got that. And while we're getting all of that, are we getting this? All right, one, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Okay, why is this? Okay, question, answer. One, two, three, four. Why is that in 14? One, two, three, four. Ha! Let's leave it alone. Shall we? Okay, we got one up here. Okay, I'll let that slide. Okay, and let's put two. Just there we go. Just for okay, everything else is we got our section break. Section break. Alright, we're done with and so what do I have here? I have a 20 times New Roman 1, 2, 3 spaced out. What does it look like? Okay, double space. Alright, 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 alright. Alright, let's go. So we got chapter 1. Let's begin. I'm almost done with my half a gallon of water, y'all. Mm. If I don't do this, then I'm not really drinking water throughout the day. All right, so chapter 1. Tulsa, 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 Oklahoma, 1921. You guys, excuse me, I'm goofy. I got a long way to go, y'all. I got to do this today. I got to finish this today. So I'm not going to read this whole entire book in front of y'all. All right, so let's chapter 1. Tulsa, let's continue with the editing. Okay, chapter 1, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. All right. Trouble lurked in the air as May Springs blossoms were peeking from the hillside of Little Africa. Little Africa was the. Hold on. Okay, we period. Little Africa was the name the black community had inherited because of its rich heritage of blacks and due. Let me see. Because of its rich heritage of blacks, particularly due to the simple fact, should we say that so we could take that end away? Let's try that. Blacks particularly save. Alright, was a name black community had inherited because of its rich heritage of blacks. Hey, where's my period? Thought we had a period somewhere. Wait. What? Okay, hold on. Was a name the black community had inherited because of its rich heritage of blacks. Let's just put a little comma right there. Particularly due to the simple fact that Jim Crow wasn't having black folks live anywhere close to white folks. Okay. My margins. Okay. That spring morning, Nana Parker's capitalization. Okay, that spring morning. Okay, okay. Carry on. All right, that. I'm tired. I'm ready for a nap. That spring morning, Nana Parker sat outside on the porch. I don't like how that reads. That spring morning, okay? Nana Parker sat outside the porch. Why are we on a period over here? Maybe a comma will suffice that sentence. Okay, a nasty disease had claimed Nana's. Let me see. A nasty disease had claimed Nana's vision, which left her with just a little bit to see right in front of her. However, that never stopped her from being jovial. Nana Parker's had a special song she would sing every time she sensed a tornado, a storm, the rain, and or a blizzard. One could have thought she was a human weather meter. I gotta watch my weather because you know I mix those up with weather and weather. If that was even different pronunciations, y'all gotta excuse that accent. I'm just saying. Pardon me pardona as I drink my water. Mm. All right, back to the lecture at hand. I save. This is a saved document, but I just, folks, you got to save. Oklahoma. Okay, where were we at? Shoot. The rain and or blizzard. One could have thought she was a human weather meter. Okay, that's the correct weather. Oklahoma was no stranger to the evils of the seasonal inclement weather. Okay, we used weather twice. One could have thought she was a human weather meter. Oklahoma was no stranger to the evils of the seasonal inclement. See, when in doubt, another word for weather. What can we substitute weather for? Oh, look at how I spelled that. Climate sounds good. And then you click on the word to make sure it goes with your sentence. And we know typically what climate means, but can it work with the sentence that I'm talking about? The weather conditions prevailing in an area general. Okay, whatever. Climate. Eh. Oklahoma was no stranger to the evils of the seasonal inclement climate. Inclement. Right. Okay. Mm, sound like a repetition of climate, whatever. All right. Old folks would say in the community that she, Mother Earth, no name, okay, that she, Mother Earth, as they called the weather changing. I don't like that sentence. Old folks would say in the community that she, Mother Earth, as they called the weather changing, was upset. Why do we have it like that? Changing. Sometimes, okay, clamor for a piece of hope. Sometimes, perhaps even peace from enslavement. This was right around the time in which Negroes of this time were tasting the beauty of freedom. Let's make sure we got Negroes spelled correctly. N-G-R-O-E-S. Negroes. Because y'all, let me tell you something. There is, I think, an island or something. Let me, while I do my search on my phone. Uh, like if you put Negro in Google, okay. Oh no 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 no, that's what it is. If you put Negro and put an S, yeah, without the ES, I believe it's like an island or something, y'all. Yeah, right, Negros, island in the Philippines. We don't want that spelling. We want. I mean, I know I got the right spelling, but you learn from your mistakes. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right. So we got the right plural spelling. Negroes, a member of dark skinned group of peoples originally native to Africa. All right. This was right around the time in which Negroes of this time, okay, I don't like the repetition of time. This was right around the era. Hmm? How about that? How about that? Cash me outside. How about that? Okay, so most of them were first generation flee. Most of them were first generation free slaves, while others were second generations. Mm, most of them were first generation free slaves, while others were second generations. Y'all kind of get the point. And look, my brother tends to think that I'm like a perfectionist at this, but just word to the wise, writing for 10 years, I could tell you that there's no wrong with getting your work edited as many times as possible, as muy posible, you know. Mm, I get tired of reading my own material. That's why sometimes I revisit it. I'll get it edited. Last set of eyes on this was kind of like proofreading ish. I say that because I forgot because it's been so long. I finished this book in 2018, so we got to it. Yeah, I think it was proofreading, and then I went over it, and then I let it just sit there, and so now I'm back towards the end of 2019, because now we really need to wrap some things up and then send it back to the editor. Um, let's see. Most of them were first generation free slaves, while others were second generation. Let's just wipe that S off there, just like that. I like using the word never the matter. I mean, people usually are like, what? What is this, Grammarly? What we doing? Slaves while others were not. Okay, while others were the second generation. Okay, Grammarly, we'll give you that. While free slaves. Okay, most of them were first generation free slaves, while others were the second generation. Okay, whatever. Never the matter. I don't know why, because I feel like I'm like writing this old freaking like setting, so I want to use never the matter. They all got along well together. I haven't used together, have I? Okay. May 20th came into the backwoods of Greenwood with a sweet smelling aroma that morning. Okay, so typically in fiction writing, when you start, you do what you want to do. I always just hate giving some of this advice, but I just remember when I did my little classes on Udemy, I might have emphasized this part, but you want to keep dates off on. Okay, I write out my dates. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to confuse anybody with the numbers and all this other stuff. All right, so May 20th came into the backwoods of Greenwood with a sweet smelling aroma that morning. The Negroes of Greenwood went about their daily business. Those that taught at local schools made their way to the classroom to prepare the atmosphere for the day's lesson. Those that owned local businesses quickened to the doors to catch the very first customer. As Greenwood slowly but quickly came alive with life that morning, Nana Parker sat outside the wraparound porch as her normal routine. When she finished her breakfast, she always found her way outside. She had to take a bite of the earthly air. Spring was a favorite time, so she'd hibernate through the harsh winters of Oklahoma in hopes of reuniting with the porch and spring's presence. Who let you slide? The Parker's estate. I almost feel like I might have to put. Okay, we'll just do it like that real quick. It'll get corrected. The Parker's estate sat at some miles' drive on a small hill that overlooked Greenwood district. The Queen and Revival style home was huge and elegant. Was huge. Quite. Let's see, huge and elegant. Huge, elegant. Okay, huge and elegant. It had a light baby blue exterior color with all white trimmings. The sweep of stairs led to a fancy handcrafted five-panel mahogany double door. Before you arrived at the front door, there was a decadent wrap. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Before you arrived at the front door, there was a decadent front wraparound porch which was encased in an elaborate white half fence. The interior had crown mold no nigger's eyes had ever seen and or could have imagined having. This piece of utopia was every bit of 3,000 square feet on 4 acres of land. Hey, that was a lot. That was a lot of square footage for them back in the day, so don't judge. Do not judge the Parkers. Okay? All right, let's continue. It was more elaborate and eloquently put together. Do I like that or no? It was. Did we not say elaborate over here? Did we? Did we not? Did we not just use that word up here? Okay. I sis. I just checking. It was more elaborate and eloquently put together. Together. Should we do a period? Eh, I hate using and twice. It was more elaborate and eloquently put together. Change that. Wait. What happened? What happened to my? Okay, it's still recording. All right, let's go here. Nana Bell Parker is one of Greenwood's wealthiest. I'll still have to say and. So what's the point, sis? One of Greenwood's wealthiest and most prominent. Yeah. No double dipping. All right. The most beautiful and exotic. How can we describe her? Hmm. She, Samar Parkas, who was the most beautiful and exotic. We're not. Okay, let's just keep this caboose going. The most beautiful and exotic dark complected woman anyone. If any one of y'all like my brother is, I said my brother. When H.J. Jr. moved to Oklahoma from Arkansas, he was a well established businessman and an architect who forged a great friendship with the Indian nations who occupied a portion of Oklahoma land after they had been displaced from the West. Back in those days, Negroes and Indians and a back in those days, Negroes and Indians had a mutual understanding. If there was one thing that was clear for those of darker melanated skin was the white folks were in favor of white, meaning Negroes, Indians, and all else were outcasted. H.J. sought temporary refuge among the Indian land after facing rejection from the white community in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was here within the community of the Indian Nation. It was here within the community of the Indian Nation. Wait. It was here within the community of the Indian Nation that, maybe, that he met. You know what I'm saying? Let's try that. It was here within the community of the Indian Nation that he met Zamora and her family. AJ had moved to Oklahoma in search of an investment when he stumbled across the oil surge that was taking precedence in Oklahoma. Also, I get tired of that word and. Also, not to forget the land rush of the portions that white folks didn't want. With most of the land already occupied by white frontiers, Negroes were forced to merge alliances with natives who lived within their own designated land. The Indian chief grew to know HJ as, let's say, as so, right? As SMH. He wanted something different. He figured if he couldn't be a part of their community, he might as well build his own community. So he sent word to the few Negroes that lived within Tulsa, Oklahoma at that time to send a message, because we used word already, to send a on the. I thought I put that on there. Heard on the radio, only to be shaken by the news coming from the radio. I repeated radio twice. The tornado was believed to be heading in the direction of Little Africa. Trying to remember old protocols, Zamora dashed for the outside door to get Nana Parker's. The minute Zamora opened the door, a gust of wind finished the rest by releasing the grip from Zamora's hands, thus flying. Girl, back up now. Thus flying all the way open till it smacked the unsuspecting wall. Nana Parker sat rocking back and forth as she smiled. Wait. Sat rocking back and forth. Okay, why don't we do this? Sat back and forth, smiling as she sang loudly. We could do that. All right, loudly. Startled by the might of the wind, Zamora hollered at Nana Parkers as she walked towards Nana. Nana! Nana Parker slowly turned her head towards Zamora's direction. Yes, baby. Her quivered, well-aged voice sounded off into the wind. Zamora approached her gently. Okay, how about Zamora approached her? She stood tall as to get her bearings. She stood tall while gathering. She stood tall, trying to get her bearings, maybe? Trying to gather to her bearings. Y'all kills me here with this panic, Nana mumbled as she tried to move one foot in front of the other. I know, Ma. I reckon we'd rather be careful and not sorry later. Zamora's soft voice blended in with the wind. Nana finally made it, savage. Nana finally made it to the threshold of the door. She stalled. Zamora was standing right behind her. What's wrong? Zamora asked. Oh, shoot. Then Zamora asked. In. So, know what I'm saying? Come on now. Relieved to see her husband and son walking in. She hung the receiver of the phone down, only because it's back in the day phones, as it would be the one, only one. Let's say Nana was, okay, was the only one that would.